with, man. You got the Kobe Bryant Hirachi pants going on over here, man. I peeped at the logo. And it's fitting because LA won the NBA championship this year through all the adversity, the starting and stopping of the year, opt-outs. They found a way to get the job done against a very tough and scrappy Heat team. We saw they definitely pushed them throughout that series, man. And it was just good because now LA has 17 championships. Shout out to them, tying Boston for most championships in the NBA. And then LeBron James, he joins very, very rare company. 4 championships, 3 different teams, 4 finals MVP. You know, it's only one other guy that has more than 4 finals MVPs. Did you know that?
It's got to be Jordan, huh?
Yeah, that's the guy we're referring to. Yeah, I heard he's a bad man. But once again, LeBron just continues to show how special he is, man, and how great of a talent he is, and ultimately why, and everybody's saying it now, man, just talking about appreciating just the greatness for what it is.
You have
just
to.
appreciate it, man. Enough of all the, we got to compare or trying to constantly tear people down. We talked about this. It's always who's the next greatest guy. Oh, first is this guy, then is that guy, then is that guy. And it's like, no, the whole time we're seeing who it really is right now. And I just think, man, we should all just appreciate that because what he's been able to do throughout his career, throughout the adversity, and some of the adversity, let's be real about it, it really isn't warranted when you really look into the facts of everything in terms of why people say they don't like him or they have an issue with him. Nothing that has been self-inflicted. A lot of it is just fans and media projecting upon him. But ultimately, man, I was very impressed, though, to see him go win him one out west because, you know, a lot of people say he couldn't win it out west. He was only winning out east. And then they talked about, I mean, we said this year, even with him being out in the west, they weren't the favorite throughout the season. We said it was the Clippers throughout this whole process, even in the bubble. It took them losing 3 games in a row to the Nuggets to get eliminated for them to finally not be the favorite anymore.
Yeah.
So to see that and to see LeBron still be able to handle all the, this isn't a matchup you want, or you don't want to see this team, they're hot right now, this team is playing really well right now, or this team never quits, still found a way
Most consistent
to get the job
team,
done, man.
Steady throughout. Yep.
Yeah. And that was after them playing bad in the playing games. Remember we talked about the 8 warm-up games. We said, man, they looked really bad compared to some of these other teams out there. And what, 3, was it 2 of their, was it 2 series or 3 series? I want to say they lost game 1 of those series anyways. And they still, after that, man, just rallied off. Bam, 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 bam. I was impressed, man. I was very impressed.
Nah, it's awesome, man. Good for him. He's like you said, just appreciate all this, what he's doing. Like how often do you get this? You got LeBron and Jordan, that's kind of it.
Like seriously, and think about just the spacing in between that, and even with LeBron's journey.
I guess you could throw Kobe in there, but in terms of an individual,
right? Because even with Kobe, you got to think Kobe's
different.
First 3 championships, it was more Shaq than him in terms of the MVPs, in terms of the accolades and everything like that. Then Kobe got his 2 MVPs after the fact. But it still didn't.
I think I'm saying like that bona fide face of
like the
league.
NBA. Like this is the guy. Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, dude. So should I be ashamed at all? Is my question.
About what?
Just because like I was talking a little bit about Kawhi and the Clippers, and I thought like, hey, man, I thought they were gonna be it, but I did say I had a caveat. I said LeBron's still the best. Mm-hmm. He's the only way he's not the best is if he gets the throne.
Wait a minute now. The fact that you were gonna put it on a quarantine playoffs that now people want to look. It's funny too when it comes to this, right? LeBron wins it. Now it's a Mickey Mouse ring. It doesn't count.
I never said this.
I know you didn't, but a lot of people have. If LeBron would have lost it though, oh man, we wouldn't have heard the end of it. We know this. So when I think of you in this whole scenario in terms of should you be,
I was just going with my feeling and saying I think this team is they're on a roll right now. I have a bad feeling for the Lakers.
This is my thing. In terms of team versus team, Clippers versus Lakers, you weren't wrong in that. I don't think you were wrong at all. My only issue is the Kawhi versus LeBron talk because people are so quick to do that. They did the year before that with KD, and then before KD, they were doing it with Steph. And I just feel like because kind of what I was alluding to in terms of people are always trying to see the next thing. Sometimes I feel like, yes, you and a lot of people jump the gun with that.
All right, I jumped the gun a little bit, but I didn't say he was better than LeBron yet.
Still jumped it, though.
Here's what I said.
Alluding to it.
Here's what I was trying to say, though.
If the Clippers beat the Lakers, Kawhi takes over as the best player in the league. That's not the case, though. I personally never felt that was going to be the case because when we're talking team for team, that's different. But when we're talking individual versus individual, Kawhi isn't the same type of player of LeBron. I looked at that the same way when we talked about KD and how when KD was in Golden State, now all of a sudden it's, KD's the best player in the league. When KD a year prior to that was in OKC, it was the same KD. He just didn't have all this help around him. And now you got to see what that really was like. And nobody was saying that KD was better than LeBron. So that was always my issue with that. When people wanted to try to make, if they beat him head to head, that makes him the better player. It does not. We understand the team element of it, and that gives you the head to head element of it. But even when LeBron was losing to KD in the finals, man, and we saw what LeBron's stat line looked like, man, in terms of leading his team, sometimes leading the other team as well in all the 5 major categories, like, that's crazy. So that's why for me, man, I never liked that whole narrative of that. But people do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. To me, I just don't like it.
Understood, because I didn't feel the greatest about it. I think what I really wanted to portray with what I was saying with Kawhi was, it goes back to just even appreciate LeBron, like appreciate what Kawhi was doing, dude, because he was lights out in that Maverick series. Yeah. And some of the stuff he was doing, it was, I kept saying it was Jordan-esque, but obviously he's not Jordan. We're seeing this now, and he's not LeBron. So we saw things, how things played out. And I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. How am I supposed to? This is my thing,
though, because this is my issue, right?
Yeah.
So how many years have we seen Kawhi play like that? Realistically, how many years?
One.
And how many years have we seen LeBron do this?
A lot.
So why is it that we allow a one-hit wonder, and not saying Kawhi's a one-hit wonder, but just in general, he can have 1 or 2 hot seasons, and we're willing to say that's better than everything that we've seen with LeBron currently and throughout the duration. Like, to me,
I wasn't going to say that. I would have just said right now.
Right.
Just in the NBA right now. If Kawhi was able to dethrone him, he would have been the best in the NBA. That's all.
Even when you're seeing what LeBron is doing on a night in, night out basis, even when LeBron isn't even taking the load management route that Kawhi takes. Like, to me, that's why I always had like those issues and stuff like that. But
I think, like I said, those sentiments are squashed. And that's what I'm saying. I feel bad for having him. That's what I'm saying.
I feel bad for having him. You know the funny thing, though?
What?
We only feel like that for right now. Give it 6 more months when the season starts up, and let Giannis be averaging a triple double. Let somebody new. Come on now.
I'm done, dude. I'm not going to let that stuff happen.
We've seen this for the past 5 years now. First it was Steph, then it was KD, then we saw Harden for a little bit, then it was Kawhi, and then it was Giannis. We've seen those in the past 5 years. At some point, sometime, people have tried to make a case that those guys are the new kings of the NBA. They run the show. They are the face of it. And time again, even with them having their seasons, LeBron is still going crazy. But because we've seen it so often, we just become numb to it. It's like, it's just a triple-double. All right, it's cool.
That's a good point.
It was just a 30-point triple, and he ain't have a 40-point triple-double. Like, that's the type of stuff we talking about now.
That's a good point. That's 100% good point. We see it all the time, just how great he is and everything, that take it for granted. You kind of want to see maybe even some just type of rivalry, not maybe someone to upseat him necessarily, but at least like a rivalry. And that's what maybe we were thinking with Kawhi, but
they dropped the ball.
It's 100%.
Or have you seen the new narrative where because of the Mickey Mouse ring, right? They said this is LeBron's easiest ring because he avoided the Clippers, he avoided the Bucks. I'm like, how do you avoid these teams that are losing in the playoffs? Like, did he call out and say, hey, I want the Clippers to play in this seed? Like, nah, the Clippers were up 3-1 and lost to a Nuggets team that Bron closed out in 5. Like, what are we talking about here, man?
Those teams weren't as good as we thought.
Yeah. It's like that, man.
Yeah, great for LeBron, man.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, just 4 finals, 3 different teams.
That's just the crazy part.
And here's the thing I was thinking. I've talked to you about this before, actually, too. If he were to win one in LA, he might. It's tough. It's all going to depend on your perspective and what you think of this stuff. But like his career, he might have the coolest career.
I agree.
But like Jordan is probably more iconic.
Yes.
LeBron's career, just the storyline and the path that it took is just really cool. To win one back home in Cleveland, like the redemption title, to go down to Miami.
And doing it down 3-1 to the greatest team on paper at the time, 73-9 Warriors. Like, that whole narrative was nuts.
Yeah, and then to go down to Miami, be like the villain, I guess, for a little bit.
He was. But
like
the villain.
But like to play with your boys, and then like to go along with that whole Miami vibe and everything, and then to restore the Lakers back to a championship. That's a
first
really
championship since Kobe.
Cool career.
And you do it the year where Kobe and his daughter passed away tragically. It was the perfect storyline. And you're right, he did play the villain in Miami. And this is the thing that killed me when people actually talk about why they were mad oh, you went on TV and made your decision. I'm like, first off, he never got the chance to do that from a college standpoint, right? Typically, you do.
You probably watched it, so like.
But this is the thing, though. This is the thing. The people look at it as if LeBron was being just some attention whore, right? One on the stuff. But if you really look into the details of it, the money that was made through the TV companies, he donated it to one of his, I forgot what the charity was in Cleveland, but he made that charity like almost close to $1 million just on that decision. That was the whole purpose of it. And people, because of him deciding to go to Miami versus wherever other teams he could have went to, they viewed that as, oh man, I can't believe he'll go up here and make a decision, man. I hate him. He's the worst player ever. We saw the GM for the Cavs at the time like blast him. I'm like, bro, he's even in the midst of all this, he's still giving back to the community. Like, it's crazy.
And the market talks, man.
Yeah.
As much as all these people were criticizing him, you watched.
They tuned in.
You watched. The market speaks.
Yeah,
so, like,
they were tuned in.
Why wouldn't you make something that people are going to watch?
That's my biggest thing, man. I just don't understand.
And it was entertaining. I remember where I was.
The
I think
drama,
that's
all of us were.
I think that's one of those things in your lifetime with
Yes,
sports.
you will forever
You're going to remember
that.
where you were and kind of what your reaction was and everything.
Yeah. And then I also think like how awesome was that the players that were around the league just hoping that he was going to choose their team. They had no clue. D Wade said he found that he's at dinner and it was like, oh, he chose us. Like, that's dope. Like, you find out in the action. It wasn't no predetermined or script thing. Like, that's the thing that I enjoy.
No, apparently he was like the day before.
Yeah,
he was still like
50-50, right? So that's my thing. But people put that as like this big negative. I'm like, if that's the biggest negative, him raising money for, just youth that need help, they need resource. He's doing that in the midst of saying, where I'm going to decide to go play at. If that's the worst thing you put on him, like, come on now, baby. Like that to me, I just feel like, man, it's more saying stuff about the people who are hating on him than actually LeBron. Let's be real about it here, man.
Yeah. Exactly. It just
man.
go to
4-6 in the finals now, man. That's beautiful. I love it.
So should I be ashamed? Am I exposed?
No, man, you're good, bro.
Am I good? Am I good?
Listen. Deke, right now, you're just you are the representation of the free world.
Just what do you mean?
You're the representation of the free world, man. The way you come up here, sometimes, and people love the hot takes or cold takes in some cases, but that's what America is right now, man. We all want to just be quick to say this is the reason, and I was the first one to say it. Give me my flowers. Be patient. That's all.
Was I doing it with this?
You were.
I don't think I was.
You definitely were.
I put all my filters around
No,
it.
because I even called you out when I said, dude, you're throwing out this Clippers and Kawhi stuff, but you're trying to give yourself a little out just in case it doesn't work.
I was definitely getting out. I was predicting it. I'm not. Here's my point, though. I said Kawhi's not the best yet. He's got to beat LeBron. And I even said last year, we did, whenever we first started doing this at the NBA, we both said LeBron was the best. So I haven't wavered on
last
that.
year. We're talking about this year.
I know, I haven't wavered.
You did waver because you simply said if the Clippers beat the Lakers, Kawhi is the best player.
And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen. So I don't got to worry about that. So maybe I shouldn't be ashamed at all because.
No, you should be ashamed if you're going to just base one series and say that makes this person the best player. I'm like, bro, Kawhi doesn't even play half of the games. Like, what are we talking about here, man?
I think that would have proved his, whatever it is, that whole load management. Hey, this kind of works. Like maybe Kawhi's onto something. I think that's what it would have approved.
But that's the thing.
But it didn't. So,
but being onto something is no different than analytics, right? You can pull up the analytics and say, oh, this guy is a high percentage shooter than this guy. At the end of the day, give me Steph Curry, give me Klay Thompson, give me all the shooters that I love because I know they're going to come up clutch. Not on paper because analytically, oh, man, this guy, he's onto something. He's ahead of the time. He's not shooting long twos. He's shooting threes now.
I'm telling you right now, he's not. So,
but this is after the fact. This hindsight 2020.
I said, that's what I said. If it happened, that's
listen. It's all good, man.
I was hyping it up, saying like, this is a big showdown. There's a lot of things at stake. You don't hype it up if you don't
believe it. That's all I'm gonna say. You don't hype it up unless you believe it.
I think a lot of people were hyping Lakers Clippers.
No, people were believing that Kawhi was better than LeBron. People were believing that the Clippers were a better team than the Lakers. That's what people were believing, and they ran with that narrative.
I did have a sentiment that it was gonna happen. It didn't happen though. It didn't, and I said LeBron is still the best.
It's all good. Trust me, it's hard for people to admit when they have fallen short, when they've been in the wrong. It's cool, man.
Oh, I will.
It's cool. Well, technically, you say one thing, but as we've seen with various episodes.
I'm just trying to let you know I put a lot of fillers and filters around that take there for this instance when LeBron would win.
And just know I was not going to allow you to finagle your way out of it, all right? So it's all love.
Wait, so
man.
you said I shouldn't be ashamed, though?
You shouldn't be ashamed. No, just own it, though. That's all I'm saying. Just own it.
own that I had those sentiments.
Yes,
I did.
you threw it out there. Just own it, man.
I did have this.
Just own it. You threw it out there. Just chew it. Go on to the next day, man. It's simple, baby. Yeah.
I still always held true that LeBron was the best. I did.
Whatever you say, bro. But yeah, man, that kicked off the weekend in a major way, man. I was very, very hype about that.
Were you nervous for Game 6 after Game 5?
No, not at all, man. But this is the thing, man. When you're talking about closeout games, they're always tough because you know that team back against the wall. We talk about this, and we saw it numerous times. You think about the Nuggets down 3-1 closeout games. They come out swinging. You see time and time again teams when they're down back against the wall. It's no different if a dog is cornered. If you're cornered and it's, hey, I'm either going to die or I'm going to fight my way out of this thing. You're going to do some things that we never seen. Jimmy Butler going for a 40-point triple-double. Hey, it happens. All right, cool. You saw the next time, though. It was like, yo, you're not gonna do that multiple times. So that's why for me, I'm like, you chalk it up. All right, cool. You had one of those games of the career, right? This is one of your career games. Cool. I'm playing the odds here. I know Bron going to give me another 30-point triple-double. I know AD gonna give me another 20, 30-point double-double.
Great defense.
Yeah, so I'm like, we good. So that was my whole thought process with that. It was more so, all right, we ain't celebrating this day. Okay, I gotta celebrate on the weekend. All right, cool. All right, that's fine. Made for a better party anyways, baby. Because I got the chance to see my Steelers win beforehand. Didn't get the chance to watch Bron close out. So, man, it was a full-time party on Sunday.
I'm going to be straight up with you, though.
Yeah.
So I was watching Steelers on Sunday. Then I had the 4 o'clock games on Red Zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned over for the NBA Finals, and as soon as I saw the score, I switched back to Sunday Night Football. I didn't even watch the finals because, dude, it was double digits in the first quarter. I'm like, this is over. I'm not even doing this.
I told listen, I had most people hit me up about this. My wife, she's like, yo, you really about to watch this game? They're up 30 right now. My cousins texting me.
I turned in for the reactions, though. I turned in for the post game.
You know what I told them? I said, throughout LeBron's 10 finals, this is probably the first time where he was the heavy favorite, right? We said maybe you could throw that Dallas series in there, right? But the first time he was the heavy favorite. And then I said, after watching him struggle and do everything he could against KD and that super stack Warriors team, I said, if I'm going to endure that, I'm going to watch this where he's absolutely destroying this team because we've had to live through the rough times. It makes you appreciate it more. So I was like, no, I'm not about to turn away if they up 30. I do not care. And I watched and celebrated every bucket as if it was 0-0 the whole game. Wifey hated it. A lot of my folks hated it. I didn't care because 3 years ago when KD was out here pulling up from half court into 3 and everybody, Warriors and all that. Nah, keep that same energy, baby. Bron, 30 burger, let's go, man. Give me another ring.